Welcome to KRWG Public Media's Election 2025 Candidate Forum for Las Cruces City Council District 3. I'm KC Counts. We've teamed up with the League of Women Voters of Southern New Mexico for this forum. My co-moderator is Jennifer Cry. Thank you, Jennifer, for being with us. Candidates in this race are Michael Harris, Isiah Tellez, and Paul Paar, a writing candidate who did not respond to any of our calls or emails. Thank you, Mr. Harris and Mr. Tellez, for being with us. The rules for this forum are that each candidate has 60 seconds to answer each question, and candidates should not mention their opponents by name. Candidates are in the order they'll appear on the ballot and will each have a chance to answer first. The first question will go to Mr. Harris from Jennifer.
Good evening. Mr. Harris, what skills and experience from your background have prepared you for representing constituents in District 3?
Sure. So I have a master's degree in computer science from New Mexico State, and after that I founded a small technology business in town. I've been running that for over 13 years. We've had a handful of employees and do projects with people from all over the world. So I have a lot of business leadership experience working with people, getting projects done. And then I also have some experience with nonprofits in the community, where we provide after-school programs and things to kids and adults alike. And I've also served on several city boards in the last 5 years. I've been on the COVID-19 Economic Recovery Board, the Redistricting Committee, and I'm currently on the Transit Advisory Board. And so that gives me some insight into City Hall and how departments work and how some of our policies impact the community.
Thank you. And Mr. Tellez, the same question.
Yes, thank you. Well, I was born and raised here in Las Cruces, which allowed me to get a deep understanding of our community's challenges directly and also our potential too as well. I've been a business owner for about 5 years in the sector of being a local realtor, which allowed me to serve families and community members directly and be involved within the community as well directly. In doing so, I've learned and gathered problem-solving skills, negotiation skills, and communication skills that allowed me to serve my clients and potentially, hopefully, my constituents in the future. I also am a great advocate for affordable housing in the real estate industry because I see directly the first and foremost the actual concern of affordable homes. And that has allowed me to work completely right directly with our community.
Thank you.
All right, next question goes first to Mr. Tellez. If elected, what are your top priorities?
Right away, my top priorities, I have 3 of them. Public safety is the first thing. I want everybody to feel safe in their own neighborhoods, their own parks, and their own communities in general. Youth enrichment is going to be my second item too as well. I feel like our youth has been forgotten about, hence the increased crime within the youth and the increased loss of life within our youth. I want to bring them modern recreation to make sure that they have things to do and ways to express themselves without bringing guns onto the street and keeping them on the street. I also want to make sure that we support our local law enforcement too as well by funding them correctly, not only in higher pay, but better training too as well, and better programs that allow them to respond efficiently and effectively to certain scenes.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
My top 3 priorities are housing, community safety, and sustainable development. In terms of housing, I really want to increase the availability of affordable homes of all kinds of sizes and makeups and neighborhood types in the community. Make sure that we've got starter homes for families to start out in, and that we are developing kind of our infill, especially in District 3 where we have a lot of vacant land to be developed, in a nice and walkable way. Community safety, I'm really passionate about alternative responses and messaging and healing the divide kind of between our law enforcement and the community. And then sustainable development, the city's goal is to last a long time. It's an infinite game. There's no winners and losers. The city, we want to survive. And so we have to be careful with how we develop and how that impacts our city budget and funding sources going forward.
And the next question goes first again to Mr. Harris. On the topic of public safety, what role does City Council play in creating a safer community, and what efforts do you plan to pursue to that end?
So City Council's role is to provide leadership and examples from a policy perspective. We of course fund the police department based on the resources that they ask for, and if they ask for it, they're almost always given it. I don't know of a time we haven't done that as a city. And then it's also our responsibility to work with constituents and get the message across and to kind of set policy direction with the police. So I want to make sure that we're supporting those alternative responses. We've got Project Light. We can integrate it more with regular police, and then work with them on messaging and kind of the attitudes that the community perceives, and make sure that we're recruiting the right kinds of people, we're recruiting enough people, and yeah, just making sure we're supporting everyone.
Right on time. All right, that same question to you, Mr. Tellez.
May you repeat the question again?
Yes. On the topic of public safety, what role does City Council play in creating a safer community, and what efforts do you plan to pursue to that end?
City Council plays a large role in creating public safety, whether it's funding or listening directly to our constituents, and also enacting policy too as well. The things that I really want to do if I get elected is right away I want to increase the funding of our police department and get them paid a lot more. Right now they are the 14th highest paid police department in the state, which again, we are the second largest city. We also are almost first in calls for service, which is a huge thing too as well if our law enforcement officers aren't getting paid a lot or enough. The other thing that I want to do is also increase our infrastructure, the amount that we're spending towards our infrastructure, making sure our parks are lit up, making sure we're investing in the real-time crime center, making sure we're adding cameras to protect our citizens and give law enforcement the opportunity to respond quickly and safely too as well.
Thank you. Mr. Tellez, how can Las Cruces City Council positively impact housing needs?
They are already doing it right now, and that is with the affordable housing infrastructure that they're building and building actual affordable housing communities. I think what we can do a little bit better is effectively gain some more research to make sure that these programs are actually effective and working consistently. I think we should also look at other cities around us too as well, whether it's Albuquerque or Santa Fe, where they have enacted a working program for our affordable housing units. And also making sure that we're spending the money wisely too as well that we are spending, because I believe we spent over $13–20 million already on affordable housing, and I want to make sure we're spending that money correctly and we're putting in the right avenues as well.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
So Las Cruces is actually already an example for a lot of other cities. Albuquerque and Santa Fe send delegations down here to see how we're doing affordable housing and transitioning, especially homeless neighbors into their housing. So I definitely want to continue the programs that we're doing. I think they're providing good value for the money. We're getting people into their first homes, families that need assistance, and that's really great. The other major thing that the City Council can do when it comes to affecting housing availability is zoning. I mean, honestly, that's what the city controls the most. We passed Realize Las Cruces, which is amazing. It kind of gets us back to a position we used to be in many years ago, where we could build smaller homes, starter homes, a nice mix of different types that everybody can afford without just kind of having to go big or not have anything.
Thank you. So Mr. Harris, how do you plan to address or improve transparency in city government?
Transparency is actually one of the things that kind of got me interested in city government in the first place. Many years ago, we used to have more frequent community meetings that were after hours. They were, they were at 5 or 6 p.m. when people were off work, and they were really targeted towards having people interact with the various departments in the city. So you would have the department heads from Parks and Rec, Public Works, et cetera. And then people who are in the district would get to ask questions and actually interact in this forum type environment. So I think getting public input on important issues, that's really a good forum for that. The regular city council meetings are more or less a business meeting. And then just being open and communicative with constituents about here's what's going on, here are our plans, and listen to them.
Mr. Tellez?
Yes, transparency is a big thing with me too as well. As I'm door knocking consistently within District 3, I'm hearing that a lot of our community members don't have the opportunity to attend these city hall meetings or the city community meetings at all. So right away, what I intend to do is propose that we change the dates and the times of these city hall meetings to allow maximum civil participation when it comes to our city hall, our city council meetings. And also allow us to, as directly representatives, to hear from the constituents directly instead of hearing from representatives within the city or workers within the city telling us that constituents told us this and we should do this. I want to hear directly from our constituents. I also plan on hosting town halls once a month, every single day, every single month, to make sure that I hear directly from constituents that also are not allowed to attend these city council meetings at all. So transparency is a big deal to me, and I believe that's one thing that I'm going to be running on as well.
All right, next question goes first to you again, Mr. Tellez. What are some ways you believe City Council can and should support economic development?
Right away is infrastructure. I think we need to make our city look more appealing. Our roads, we have a lot of rough roads that need to be repaired. And the reason why I say we need to look more appealing is to draw in more businesses and also support more local businesses too as well. If we draw in more businesses, we draw in more jobs economically and we thrive. That is the key economically, is just to bring more jobs. Another thing too as well, to improve economically, is to support our local businesses like I had mentioned, and making sure that they are thriving and we cut the red tape for them so they are allowed to thrive independently.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
I think the first thing that we should do is try and focus on smaller projects rather than chasing a huge factory or a huge company to come into town and make this huge transformative change. We have a lot of businesses in town that exist and are doing well and need just a little bit of help to redo their roof or paint something or hire a couple of employees or buy a machine. So we can get a lot more value, I think, out of our economic development dollars by doing that, and we can create a more sustainable base. When it comes to attracting larger companies with many more jobs, I think a big thing is just quality of life issues. I'm sure we'll touch on this in another question, but a lot of my peers, when I graduated, left town because they just didn't have the same quality of life here that they could elsewhere. And so if we can keep that talent here in Las Cruces, I think that businesses will see that it's there and relocate here.
All right. And back to you, Mr. Harris, for the next question. What role do you believe the city should play in sustainability and the use of alternative energies?
Love alternative energy. The city, I think, should support people in transitions to new energy sources. So we're at a point in history where we've got all these wonderful new appliances coming online that are electric, they're massively efficient, they really decrease people's cost of living and quality of life, and they're available to people who can afford them right now. And so people who can afford them are moving to heat pumps and fancy water heaters and fancy washing machines and stuff. And it's going to become more and more challenging to keep our older infrastructure online. And so I think that there's a place for the city to help other residents who might not be able to afford these things, afford them, put them in their homes, upgrade their homes, and really get these benefits that everyone else is going to be able to do to survive the transition.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Tellez?
May you repeat the question?
Absolutely. What role do you believe the city should play in sustainability and the use of alternative energies?
One thing that I really think, and I'm actually very for, is green spaces around our community, making sure that we're utilizing these empty parking lots that we have for alternative energies and making sure we are applying it, whether it's solar panels in those parking lots and creating shade, also bringing in trees too as well to create shade and actually cool down the ground to allow people to actually walk around our community. And when it comes to the new houses too as well in terms of sustainable energy, supporting those community members as well who are wanting to go into solar panels and more effective energy sources within our electrical grid, and also making sure our infrastructure is still upgraded and keeping up with modern times and the modern electrical load that we are actually implying and consuming to as well.
All right, thank you very much.
And Mr. Tellez, again, how should city leaders be preparing for and responding to possible federal funding cuts?
What I think we should be doing is speaking with our state legislators and making sure that our state government is funding us correctly if the federal government is going to cut off our funding, and making sure that we are also spending our dollar correctly and we are being very transparent with how many of those dollars we are spending and how we are spending those dollars as well. I think the biggest thing, like I had mentioned before, was communicating with our state legislators and also fighting against the federal administration. As hard as it is to say, that is what we need to do. We need to fight against our administration, make sure that the federal funding is not completely stopped, but we find ways to make sure the federal funding keeps coming through.
Mr. Harris?
Yeah, a big chunk of the city's budget is federal. I'm on the transit board, and a lot of those dollars are from the federal government. We have lots of resources in the state. From the state has pretty big budget surpluses, and I think that our legislators are willing to work with us to direct some of that funding to cover gaps. Last session, I understand, was enormously successful in that regard. The city has its own funding sources. We have the Telshore Fund, we have some other funds, and I think that we can strategically use those to cover some of those gaps. We also have the new GRT increase that was voted in last year, and that's a source of money that we can explore using to cover some gaps as they arise. And then, just being realistic about what projects we're pursuing, how much they cost, and the value that we're getting out of them.
Thank you. And Mr. Harris, again, how do you feel the recently launched Real-Time Crime Center will impact public safety?
Yeah, it's an interesting project. I do think that Chief Story seems like a pretty smart guy, and he's willing to try out some new things. I think that it will be useful in providing officers, especially when they have to go alone or in small teams, to kind of know what they're getting into as they're going into a situation. I do also have some concerns, privacy mainly related, because the city is kind of getting into this business of having a lot of data now about citizens. And we need to be very careful about how that's being stored, what private companies are being contracted to maintain it, and what our policies and options are to keep that data protected, because it can be abused, it has been abused, and it will be abused. And so we just need to make sure that we're doing the right things for our citizens in every way.
And Mr. Tellez?
Do you mind repeating the question?
Not at all. How do you feel the recently launched Real-Time Crime Center will impact public safety?
I think it's going to be a positive impact on public safety. The big thing is that we're going to have quicker responses, safer responses to scenes and to drastic scenes. I believe right now they're also using drones as well to get to scenes to make sure we actually elevate or get to examine the scenes before officers arrive at all. In terms of privacy, I know that's a big concern with the Real-Time Crime Center, but I believe they're working on enacting, or they have already currently enacted, that every video that is gathered is only stored for 7 days unless for investigative purposes, which I believe is a huge thing too as well, because it gives citizens also enough time to, if they are in a sticky situation or something happened, they have enough time to request that video rather than it being deleted directly. And I believe privacy is not necessarily a concern in terms of the Real-Time Crime Center because of that. But in terms of public safety, it is, I feel, a lot more safer that our officers are able to respond a lot quicker.
Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Tellez, this question goes first to you. What opportunities and challenges does Realize Las Cruces present?
The opportunities is now we have a more sustainable, walkable community, and the potential to have a sustainable, walkable community. Quality of life goes up. We're bringing more businesses into Las Cruces. And the challenges is we do have a lot of community members that I've spoken to directly from door knocking that are worried about their property values right away. And I know that's a big concern, is if there's an empty lot on the corner of my street, are they going to put a multifamily unit directly right there? And the answer is yes, they have the opportunity to do so. And I do feel for those community members who have invested their entire lives, almost 30 years, most of them, in their mortgage, and they're looking to cash out here pretty soon and go into assisted living, and now their values are dropping down consistently. That is the biggest concern, but in terms of enrichment and the future of our community, I believe it is a positive thing, but we do have to address the concerns of those community members that have those concerns.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
I think Realize Las Cruces is hugely positive for the community. It really puts Las Cruces on a different path than places like Albuquerque, who tried to enact some of the reforms and were not able to get even close. You know, quality of life things are great, especially in District 3, where we have the infill area and the opportunity to develop a lot of these neighborhoods and really redevelop some space to being a lot more walkable, vibrant, and thriving. There are some challenges. I would like to see some things changed about it, certainly, but it has built in that we can revisit it every year and address those challenges. I think a lot of the challenge also is in communicating what it's about, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about it. It does actually allay a lot of concerns about what you can build where. It's got some specific guidelines, and so I want to see us do a lot more to communicate that.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Harris, this question goes first to you. What vision do you have for new money raised by the gross receipts tax increase?
I guess at the moment my mind is kind of on transit. We have a pretty good transit system. They do a lot with the money they have. It does have a lot of ties with federal funding, which is at risk. And it's also kind of on a fiscal precipice, if you will, where if we can afford to get a couple more buses, if we can afford to get a couple more, not just a couple, but some more drivers, and we can fill another shift, then we can like hugely expand the service, and it would service a lot more people at a lot more times of day. Someone was talking at the city council meeting earlier today about how the buses don't run on Saturday. Very aware of that situation, and I helped him out yesterday or Saturday, and you know, I think it's a really good value for the money, and it's definitely one of the projects that we should pursue.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tellez?
And this is a big thing for me. Right away, I think we should be looking towards our youth enrichment. That's actually what I'm running on. Making sure we're bringing modern recreation. I know right now we're looking at the library revitalization, and I believe we should spend the money to help our youth and bring that modern recreation. Our infrastructure is another thing too as well, bringing lights, bringing modern safety nets to our parks, allowing our kids to utilize our parks, allowing our parks to be a little bit more safer for our families to enjoy the parks too as well. Transit is also a big thing with me too as well. I did also hear that community member today at the council meeting state that after 4 p.m. they don't have a bus that's operating. And most of our events and a lot of people who are attending these events for recreation are after 5 p.m. and they can't get a bus ride back home or a bus ride over there either. So I believe those are my top things, the top 3 things that I would love to spend the money on for the GRT increase.
All right, thank you. And Jennifer, this will be the last question.
Okay, Mr. Tellez, what do you think city representatives could be doing to engage young voters and inspire more political participation among that demographic?
Yes, hosting more events, going directly to the youth in their schools, and also opening up mentorship programs too as well. I have a lot of youth members that are actually within my younger sister's age that just want to see what I do on a daily basis, and they love that, and I believe they are going to be more engaging when they engage directly with us. Also those events, like I mentioned, bringing the kids in. I know another candidate, Tommy Black, hosted a teen night, which showed great force, and that's our time right there as city officials to engage with our youth and make sure they're engaging, make sure they're learning about our local government and how it operates and how it can work for them too as well.
Mr. Harris?
I'll go back to those community meetings that I mentioned. Holding them after school, on weekends, in a place where people can get to them, I think is really good for engaging the community. It engaged me as a younger person, and having the opportunity to be listened to and also re-engaged. Because the difference between those kinds of meetings where you're having this kind of town hall format within a specific district and city council is that city council is not allowed to respond to community input. But you can have those dialogues. Another thing that I think would be really nice is to have more leadership academies. We have a neighborhood leadership academy for adults, and I believe that we also have one for youth. And doing that in the summers or on breaks really gives people a good opportunity to kind of go through the city and see what's going on, how the different departments operate, and get more involved.
Thank you.
All right, and that's all the time we have. Thank you, Michael Harris and Isiah Tellez, for participating in our candidate forum. We appreciate you being here.
All right, thank you very much.
And again, the third candidate, Paul Paar, did not respond to any of our calls or emails. I'd like to also thank the League of Women Voters of Southern New Mexico and Jennifer Cry for acting as co-moderator. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching our candidate forum for Las Cruces City Council District 3. You can find all of our candidate forums and interviews as they're conducted on our website, krwg.org. And you can find voter information at nmvote.org. Election Day is November 4th.